Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what rules were put in place because of you? No sign language during silent lunch punishment. My lunch period was so loud we got put on silent lunch for over a month straight. I decided the only clear solution was to teach my entire table sign language so we could still talk without getting in trouble. Apparently it was unfair to the kids who didn't know how to sign, so we had to stop. That seems like something your school should have encouraged. Agreed. Inventive, creative, educational. A friend of mine in a military school found out the regs never stated what color the bed sheets for a bed made for inspection had to be in. So this madman went and bought Power Ranger sheets and made the perfect regulation bed. I have never seen so many SGTs lose their shit but be unable to do anything since the regs were perfectly followed. Needless to say, the next year they were updated to state sheets must be plain white. Fucking with your sergeant is a risky play. I bet they were happy just to yell about something new. I bet they secretly loved it though. Every one of those sergeants were inwardly impressed that someone went to the trouble to read the regs. We're secretly thrilled that someone actually read the regs, but we have to bust your balls anyway. Back in the day, a radio station had a weekly trivia contest. The prize was a free pizza and movie rental. Somehow my mom figured out which book they were using for the trivia questions. She bought it and memorized all the answers. Each week we would call in immediately. Sometimes we were the first, but even if we weren't it didn't matter because other people were usually just guessing. We won almost every time. Even though we changed up who would actually make the call, they eventually figured out we were all from the same household. So they made it a rule you couldn't win if your family had already won in the last month or whatever. Up till then, we enjoyed a lot of free pizzas. Some guys at the local telephone company were call jamming any radio station giveaway in my large Midwestern city. All the stations banned any telco employee from winning. Jerry was a almost daily winner. That's awesome. I was home from surgery and listened to the radio all day. I figured out the rotation of the giveaways in the landline days. I would dial all the numbers but one, and right on schedule I would hit the last number to be caller #1. Now here's the trick: if you don't hang up, you will still be there when they pick up the phone again. So I would be caller 1, 3, 5, etc. They got hip after I took my whole neighborhood to see Aerosmith with like 30 free tickets, posters, shirts and albums. Low-tech days. My brother and I got into a cattle prod sword fight at a farm store. We shocked the hell out of each other a few times and now they are locked up. We were in our 30s. You fight like a dairy farmer. How appropriate. You fight like a cow. Gets zapped with cattle prod. Reminds me of that line from The Road to El Dorado. You fight like my sister. I fought your sister. That is a compliment. Growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional. I love it. I put a croissant in one of those hotel toasters. It soon became engulfed in flames and needed extinguishing. Next day at breakfast they made a sign that said, if you'd like your croissant toasted, please ask a member of staff. How? If it's the kind of toaster I'm thinking of, the croissant gets stuck when it reaches the back and the belt continues to move. Stuck soft bread catches on fire quickly in the back of the toaster. ETA, I worked at a restaurant that uses these toasters. Our croissants were always very soft and flaky. We would unstick them with our long bread knives. That was not butter but crude oil. Finally I get to add a personal story to Reddit. When I was walking home from school, I had to walk next to the road to get to my house. I decided to see if I could walk with my eyes closed. I didn't feel the transition from gravel to road, and the cars didn't honk at me as they made a line, because they thought I was deaf. I heard a noise, looked back, and ran off the street into an orchard. 2 weeks later, they put up deaf child area signs on both sides of the road I live on. This entire thread is r/kids are fucking stupid material, but this one really takes the cake. Like, why are children always making decisions that could get them killed for fun ~lmao. Lol, to be fair, this was the worst decision I've ever made. Been doing much better since. Why would they have thought you were deaf if your eyes were closed? I honestly don't know. They never honked or anything. I just opened my eyes and realized I was in the middle of the road and heard an engine behind me. They just assumed. My junior high made a rule against yo-yos in class after I tried to do a trick and my yo-yo flew across the room and broke a glass speaker set. I'm sorry, guys. At least you didn't kill goldfish like Bart. I got our hour box taken away at work because the hour lady threatened not to pay us if we missed a clock in or clock out. In our defense, the phones didn't always work and the clock-in system was really unreliable, and I printed out the law stating that was illegal, highlighted it, and put it in her box when no one was around. She threw an unholy fit and tried to figure out who put it in her box, and from them on everything had to be handed in personally lol. She sounds like the worst kind of our person honestly. Like she should darn well know that's illegal. Oh, she's a grader cunt lol. I'm so thankful that I will be leaving in a few weeks. My younger brother was always late to school, small school, and was tardy. He figured out if he just skipped first period and went to second he was counted as being on school and no late penalty because he was at second period on time. They changed this the following year. PPL really need to look at what behavior the rules are encouraging. I did something similar. 5 minimum late equals absent, so if I was 5 minimum late I just wouldn't go. Missed a lot of school. I had a soccer coach who would make the whole team run if one of us was late to practice, so my teammates and I made a rule that if you were going to be late, you wouldn't come. Coach caught on eventually, we confessed, and no more running if one of us was late. I remember during my 5 years of secondary school they changed the rules from taking registration once at the start of the day to twice at the start and end of the day, then to 5 times a day at the beginning of every lesson. I guess too many people were skipping classes. IRC, my high school took attendance each period. My elementary school was located in the center of the neighborhood, and my 5th grade class was the first to get outdoor trailers for classrooms. We'd ask for bathroom passes and then walk home. Next year they built a fence around the school. This is a keep it to yourself issue. You can't let everyone know the get out of school free trick because someone will notice if everyone is doing it. At a ballpark I worked concessions at, they had an all-you-can-eat promo day where tickets were more expensive than usual, but concessions around the stadium were free, excluding alcohol. So I worked that day and of course it was chaos. But when the lines started dying down later in the game they started sending some of the hourly employees home, myself included. But of course, I didn't go home. After I clocked out, I stayed in the stadium and got some cheeseburgers and Philly steak and soda and found an empty seat in the crowd for the last few innings. Next year, same promo, but new rule for staff: if you get sent home early, you have to actually leave the stadium. Boo. You work concessions. The one free day a year, you deserve it the most. The weird thing about low-paying jobs is that the powers that be will literally never throw you a bone. It's like they try to make it as miserable as possible. Sounds like that should just be a perk of the job. Especially as consolation for reduced hours. No typewriters in class. I was kind of a shit kid, and while my school allowed us to use laptops, I would play video games. Primarily Warcraft 3. In class. No sound or anything, so I wasn't being a complete nuisance, but I wasn't doing my work. A teacher told me I couldn't use my laptop. I happened to have a 1950s Remington Quietwriter portable, all-mechanical typewriter. It was anything but quiet, with all of the taka. Ding. You'd expect from a typewriter. After one full day of studiously taking notes and doing my assignments via typewriter, my teacher said I could use my laptop as long as I didn't bring the typewriter to class. That is aggressively following the rules. R/malicious compliance. In middle school I would use Sharpies to tattoo myself. Other kids thought it was cool, so I started charging $1 per drawing wherever they wanted. Principal found out, and after I wouldn't stop, she put a ban on Sharpies for the entire school. Even the teachers couldn't bring them in. I'm a tattoo artist now. I bet you did a ton of that cool S-letter thing that every middle schooler is obsessed with drawing. ///. ///. LLL. LLL. /// ILL. ILL. /// This took me way too long. If it doesn't work, it was the damn cool S. Edit, it didn't work. Edit 2, my first awards happened to be from me embarrassing myself. Male students are not allowed to wear hair accessories. We had the rule about hair not touching collars, couldn't be past eyebrows, or over the ears. I grew my hair out and just put it up in headbands. After receiving multiple detentions and fighting them and winning, the next year, they made the rule. Although you could theoretically use just gel to form your hair into a beehive, or turn it into a bun, or braid it from the nape of your neck up to your forehead and then back down the center. So many choices. Liberty Spikes.